Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Master Division for the Scotland 9-hole Cup, a mix of the Glenmonarch estate and the Greenoch point here in Golf Clash the game. We're playing a par 4 and not par 4, we're playing a mix of par 4s and par 5s. We have no par 3s in this tournament, which is very interesting in my opinion. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section down below. Before we take a closer look at all the videos, make sure to hit the thumbs up button on the video here and also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. For those of you that do want to take the next step in your game and become a better player, doesn't matter if it's tour play, tournament play or both, scan the QR code here on the screen or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy, which is through the link that is in the description down below. Follow the info box on the right hand side for the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that the videos are not displaying every single wind angle and every single route that is possible on these holes. But listen to my explanations as if we are having a tailwind and I'm sending it, and I'm always explaining how you lay up and what to do. That's the same if it's the opposite. If I'm showing a video where it's a layup, where we could send it in a specific wind angle, I will mention that as well. So it's always more important to listen to my explanations rather than to watch the videos on silence. So let's go to hole number 1. Hole number 1 is usually a fairly easy start, I would say. Even if we do have a headwind, we generally have a super simple layup either to long iron or to a short iron, but I think it's more fun when we do get some tailwind because then we can send it. Either we go right or we go left. I would say that if it is a straight tailwind like this, going left should be better. Why? It's because we then have a look at the hole in 1. From the right hand side, it's going to be obviously an hole in 1 on a par 4 is always a lottery, but from the right it's going to be even more. But it could be a way for those of you that do not feel confident adjusting down over a cliff or something like that, that want to take a different type of route, then this is a nice play in that sense. Max plus 10, then specific push up depending on wind angle and wind strength as normal when it comes to send it's in Master. And then we're bouncing on the fairway and then into the rough, rolls up onto the green, and now kind of close to an hole in 1, but we're settling with an eagle. So in the end, if you have a headwind or a crosswind, we lay up. If we do have a tailwind, then we're gonna send it and hope for the best. For hole number 2 in the Scotland 9-hole Cup, we're gonna play a par 5 of the Greenoch point that used to be very good chance for an albatross. Now we are so dependent on the wind if we're gonna consider this one to be a good chance for an alba, because they have made this one way longer than what it was before, and now that was a long time ago now, but I still remember how this one were before the revamp. So what we're gonna do, set up at max, making an adjustment of max plus 10. Spins will vary depending on what type of wind direction you have and obviously what type of wind strength as well. Trying to play in between the 2 trees there, bouncing on the fairway, getting up nicely on it here as well. And we do want to be close to the rough, because if you do have a lot of room here from the fairway to the rough, you're gonna see yourself being fairly short, because I do value heavily to go for the rough bump here from distance, because if we're gonna bounce before the rough, and then it's a very high bounce that we do have from the first bounce to the second bounce, and playing the rough bump, that you can see how small that first bounce is from the first to the second mark there. And I would say that that is so important to look at in scenarios like this when we're playing a tough par 5. Is all about trying to minimize the effect of the wind, and that we can do by doing a rough bump. Not saying that we're gonna drop this one all the time, but playing a rough bump instead of doing a bounce over is gonna give you a much better chance for an albatross here. 20% elevation, and then it's whatever check you're having, basically landing position, fringe check, pin check, or something like that. Burning the edge here needed a little bit more, but the rough bump once again is superior the bounce over in terms of getting the albatross here on hole number 2 in the Scotland 9-hole Cup. For hole number 3, we have another par 4 here in the Scotland 9-hole Cup. Unfortunately, when we do have a headwind, we're going to have to lay up, and that's the same kind of with crosswind as well. We could get around when it comes to crosswind angles to do some sort of a, what will it be, a power hook, using topspin boost ball and stuff like that, but generally fairly risky in that. But in tailwind, it's a no-brainer, then we're going to send it. Here, we adjust max plus 10, and then we're going to apply a specific amount of topspin to get the ball to where we want. We're looking for consistency here with the drive, which is difficult on a bumpy fairway, whereof there will be scenarios where it's maybe even better to lay up even shorter than this. We're looking now to play a long iron to the pin, and we're looking to play a rough bump. Y'all know me when it comes to rough bump. I really love rough bumps, and the reason I do that is due to the fact that after the first bounce, the wind will not have that much of an effect, whereof bouncing on a fairway is most definitely going to have a pretty big effect instead. So now I'm looking to have the ball guideline through the hole just slightly. This due to the headwind that we're having, or not slightly, we're having the ball guideline pretty heavily through the hole here. And we are also aiming way left. Why do we aim left? It's because the ball, when it hits the ground, is going to be pushed pretty heavily right. And especially with a headwind, that's going to compress the ball guideline, it's going to make the ball go even more right. So therefore, we cannot aim directly at the pin with this type of spin setup. No elevation, and then here we're close to min club, and you can see we bounce into the rough, rolls up onto the green, dropping dead center for a beautiful eagle here on hole number 3 in the Scotland 9-hole cup. Again, tailwind, we're going to send it. Crosswind or headwind, we're going to have to lay up. In crosswind, could be sometimes we could maybe say send it with a topspin boost ball, but in general, it's going to be a layup. For hole number 4 in the Scotland 9-hole cup, we're playing another top par 5 off the Greenoch point. And here it has opened up some new routes lately. This due to us being smarter and also having better clubs and better balls. So if you do have a tailwind, you can either play down the left like this, or you can play on the right side, trying to bounce over the water and leave yourself a short iron or a wood club from there. But if it is any type of headwind or just crosswind in general, then we're playing on the left-hand side. Setting up with the rock at max P2 line, swapping them to a pock, 5 top spin and some right spin, max plus 20. The idea here is to get this ball to get to a certain distance, because we do want to play in between the trees on the second shot. So instead of playing around the trees that we used to do, now we're playing through the trees to give ourselves a look at the albatross. And I would say, for me at least, this has been a type of shot that has increased my albatross percentage in this hole a lot. But it should still be considered a bonus, because it's not an easy one to get. Need to leave the ball guideline short, as everything is downhill after the first bounce, and it's going to otherwise come in pretty hot. Spins is going to vary, but it's usually going to be all the left spin, like meaning 2 to 3 bars depending on how far you are going with your drive. Can even be 4 bars sometimes depending on what type of wind direction you have. Pushing the rings, because otherwise the tree will be in your face, and that's the tricky part. No elevation. Usually this is like a 1-to-1 type of play, and we are bouncing on the fairway. On the fairway, then it rolls down. Again, it's downhill all the way. You can see that we have beautiful speed dropping dead center, where if we would have aimed for the hole, we would most definitely have come into hot. Take your game to the next level with our Ultimate Tournament text guides for Expert and Master Division for the Scotland 9-hole cup. We're doing a qualifying round guide and a final round guide for both divisions. Having a live document allows you to follow along when we are creating shots, and you can play as we go. We do have the Telegram chats as well for those of you that do want to use that to ask for help if something happens that you don't that you didn't plan for, or just want to share your success. So sign up, scan the QR code here at the top of the screen, or you go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy using the link in the description down below. You will get to the page where we do have the packages. You can sign up for the 9-hole cup alone, or you can bundle that together with tour play and tournament play for 18-hole tournaments, or you bundle it only together with 18-hole tournaments as well. So make sure to sign up and start crushing the Scotland 9-hole cup together with us. For hole number 5 in the Scotland 9-hole cup, we're gonna send it here if we do have a tailwind. If we do have a headwind or a crosswind, we are going to lay up. But again, I want to display the tailwind because that's the fun wind angle. Aiming way out to the left here, and the reason we're doing that is because we do want to come in with an angle, meaning that we're going to use a lot of curl to push the ball back in right, because the pin is standing more to the right, and using, in this case, all of the curl is not going to be enough. So we're using a slice here. You can see we land on the fairway. We're then using specific spins to ensure that we are not going too long or too short. But obviously when it is with send-it shots, especially hooks and slice, then it's going to be difficult to control the outcome all the time because it is generally inconsistent. The adjustment here on the drive in general is max plus 10. If you are playing a layup on the second shot, you play no elevation and true club distance, and then you're gonna get yourself close, if not in the hole, if you do have to lay up. But hole 5, hopefully we do have some tailwind so we can send it. For hole number 6 in Scotland 9-hole cup, we're gonna have a headwind here for display. This is going to make this par 5 to be extremely difficult to do anything else than an eagle, and especially from 30, we're playing mainly for eagle always. If we do have a straight tailwind, we could get over the water and we can somewhat find ourselves with a wood club rough bump from there, but that's kind of the best case scenario. Adjust max plus 10 here. My goal is to get myself as far up on the fairway without risking too much, and here I kind of realized that if I'm going max OP, even with all the topspin, the risk of going into the rough or into the sand is very high. So I'm planning to just bounce and roll, trying to get as close to the rough line there at the top without obviously rolling into it. Second shot, now we are so far away and we do have the direct headwind that we have to just lay up. And here you can either lay up for a short iron from min distance or close to it, or you go a little bit higher up and you play with a wedge to attack the pin. It's up to what you prefer. I'm gonna show you a third shot just for reference as well once we have taken this second shot. So you can see here that I'm leaving myself a little bit of room from the rough line to the right, because even if I could play closer, we do not want to risk anything here in terms of clipping the rough unnecessarily with a great right or something like that. So now it's just to take it easy and just, again, play it in a realistic way. There will be loads of players trying to still get to green from here, but that will get them into the rough or into the sand, I would say, to almost a 100% certainty. A little bit curl to the right, we bounce on the fairway, we get ourselves up nicely, and now we are in a good position for the third shot. We're gonna have a look at that one just for reference. So here you can either play with a wedge, or you can go for a short iron from min distance, or I mean, there are many different ways to do that. You can see we are just at max club basically, and we could technically have gone for a dunk with our Falcon, but decide to go with a wedge. Try to find a nice consistent spot, as we're looking to just make this wedge as easy as we can. All right, so aim point is fixed. Now we're going to make an adjustment. We're going to center the ball and hit perfect, and we're going to see ourselves having a good chance for an eagle. And I would say if you do have a headwind of T on this par 5, an eagle is most definitely good enough to consider not a drop, but consider being one up on many of your opponents. In tailwind, we can push it, but it's still very risky pushing it on this par 5, and if you're making mistakes, that will definitely cost you a shot on this hole. Hole number 7 in Scotland 9-hole cup. Now we're gonna send it again in, anytime we do have a tailwind, but also in a crosswind in my opinion, especially now with topspin boost balls and stuff like that. Even having a crosswind here is gonna be an attack at the pin. And especially in tailwind, we are looking to get ourselves a look at the hole-in-one. The difficult part with a shot like this is to control the speed. It's very easy to come in too hot or too short, and then we do have the rough as well. That is not really our best friend all the time. Adjust max plus 20, adding a little bit of left curl here, playing also an NMT, which means I'm not touching the target until it's time to adjust the reins. Bounce into the rough, into the fairway, rolls there, through the rough onto the green. A little bit short, but in the end, it's gonna be a super simple eagle. So here we do lay up if we do have a crosswind. If we do have a headwind. If we have a crosswind or a tailwind, we're gonna send it to green and hope for an hole-in-one. For hole number 8, the drive, and now we do have a tailwind, and then we do have a decision to make. Either we can try to play super aggressive, trying to get some distance on the fairway that is more to the left, but obviously then we will risk water. Or we're playing like the standard way of doing, which is to bounce over that little part of water and rough to just land nicely on the fairway. But if we do that, then it's gonna be purely an eagle. So, but in the end though, this is such a difficult par 5 where taking too much of a risk will often you will often make a mess of everything. That's why I prefer to play this one a bit more conservative, just to make sure that I'm getting the eagle, as even if you were making a very aggressive drive and make that absolutely spot on, it's still super difficult to get the albatross from distance. So adjust max plus 15. Here I'm doing a max OP slow needle play to gain some extra distance to land nicely over on the fairway. Now we're gonna have the 2 left spins added, and as you can see, I'm playing with a luminary. You can play this with whatever P5 ball you may possess, like a regular circ if you would like. Now I'm just aiming somewhat onto the green. As you can see there, that the pin stands so far left that pushing to attack the pin here from distance is gonna most likely get yourself into the rough or into the sand in most of the cases. Adjust max no elevation. I'm using on curl to push the ball back left, and here ending up on the fringe or on the green or on the fairway for a simple eagle. Kind of a boring par 5, but I mean, there will be players just getting a birdie on this one, then an eagle is definitely one up on those opponents. Hole number 9 in Scotland 9-hole Cup features a par 4 of the Greenoch point that I would say is very tricky if we do have a headwind or just a lot of crosswind. If we do have a tailwind, it should be considered to be a drop that we should be getting to be able to have a good position in the tournament. So now when we do have a slight tailwind with mainly crosswind, I'm setting up on the left using all the top spin and some right spin. Adjust max plus 10, and then I'm pushing up to max, all the curl to the right, trying to hit perfect. The idea with this type of play is to bounce on the fairway and then over to this fairway path here, and to get as far down as possible. The further we get, the easier it will be on the second shot. But as always, when we are playing with shots with max overpower like this, and especially when it is a bumpy fairway, it's very difficult to control the distance, and it's gonna be times where you're gonna be not in the target zone that you do want to be in. But if we are in a situation where we do a good drive, then we can play a thorn play on the second shot, which in my opinion is most definitely the way to go if we do have a wind coming right to left. If we would be having a wind coming left to right, we could consider bounce on the fairway to the left of the bunker, because then we won't really be affected by the bunker if the wind comes left to right. Now, ball guideline heavily through the hole as it is downhill, and we need to somewhat counteract how the ball is otherwise going to act on the green. 10% elevation, I mean, it's a floating elevation. You can add or subtract elevation from there. It's all about finding the right number. The ball bounces on the green, getting past the pin a little bit, and then rolls back in the hole for an eagle. But again, this is not an easy shot by no means. And if we do have some type of win like this in the final stages of the tournament, that's definitely going to be a shot that you're going to have up on your opponent. So again, tailwind, fairly easy eagle. Crosswind, headwind, the eagle becomes fairly tough to get, but the birdie should generally be fine. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough with various wins for Master Division here for Scotland 9-hole Cup in Golf Clash the Game. A full 9 of par 4s and par 5s with the Greenoch Point and the Glenmonarch Estate. We do not have any par 3s here, which is an interesting mix. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section down below. Scan the QR code here on the screen or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. We do have a package for each and every one that you want to take the step to be a better Golf Clash player. Thank you once again for watching. Good luck in your Golf Clash game.